What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a great day. If this is your guys' first time tuning in, my name is Bryce, and this is the pre-show. So on this pre-show, what we talk about is all things driving for dollars. There's actually a study that shows 80% of people that get their first deal get it through driving for dollars. So we actually use the BatchDriven app. And in this pre-show, what we're going to do, instead of just highlighting people's success, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start talking about, 10 to 15 minutes is going to be dedicated to my day, what the properties look like when we added them to our driving for dollars list. And then I'm just going to hook up to the power dialer. And what we're going to do is we're going to start cold calling. So we're going to turn this into a little game. So that's kind of what we're going to start implementing here on the pre-show. So if you guys have any questions pertaining to driving for dollars, make sure you guys put those in the comments section. But we're just going to hop into this thing. I'm going to show you guys some of the properties that we actually added today here in South Phoenix. That's where we've been driving for dollars. One thing that we've been doing is trying to get 50 properties every single day. And then we'll go home and then we'll start cold calling them. Okay. That's how I got my first deal. That's actually how 80% of people get their first deal as well. Okay, so I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to show you some of the properties that we added to our driving for dollars list. And then we're just going to hop on the power dialer and we're going to see if we can get any yeses. We're going to try to see if we can qualify some leads. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to show you guys some of the houses that we actually added, just so you guys can see that we actually do this business every single day. And then we do have a cool little rating system that I'm going to talk about once we're done looking at some of these pictures. Okay, so we actually physically drive for dollars every single day, and we try to hit 50 properties on a daily basis. This is typically going to be our best list because it's going to be custom, it's going to be niche. No one else has access to this list. Okay, so when we're driving for dollars using the BatchDriven app, one thing that we always look for are going to be it's called the 4 pillars. Okay. So the 4 pillars, if it hits 2 or more of the 4 pillars, then we're going to add it to our driving for dollars list. Okay. So those 4 things are going to be poor landscape, exterior distress, which is going to be, boarded windows, paint is peeling, that sort of thing. The third thing that we look for is a damaged roof. Okay. So is there a blue tarp on it? Are there shingles missing? That sort of thing. And the fourth thing that we look for, guys, is going to be junk or trash. Okay, junk, trash, or broken down cars, excuse me. So as long as it hits 2 or more, we're going to add that to our driving for dollars list. And that's what we look for every single house. Okay, so this one here, I wanted to highlight the AC unit is starting to rust. That's one thing that we've started to implement when we're adding houses to our driving for dollars folder, is we want to see if these have, rusting AC units. Okay, so this one hits multiple pain points, has poor landscape, has some junk, has an old AC unit. Okay, so that's going to be house number 1. And then this is going to be house number 2. Okay, so I'm actually going to zoom in here. You can see the right-hand side of the house as far as the roof. That is going to need to be replaced. It has a broken window on the left-hand side, and the AC unit is going to be old. It's going to have poor landscape. This one hits multiple pain points, so we're going to add this to our driving for dollars folder. Okay, this is going to be hands again, going to be one of the cheapest ways for you guys to get your first deal as well. With about $250 is how much I invested into driving for dollars, and I got my first wholesale deal after 3 months, just using this app and pretty much doing exactly what we're going to be talking about on these wholesale hotline pre-shows. Okay, so this one here, this one was a super interesting one. You can see it, believe they're living off grid. There's a big satellite tower there. I don't even know what to call that, but you can see there's a bunch of junk, the poor landscape, and then their roof is, damaged. They have some exterior distress where they need to have a paint job, that sort of thing. So that's going to be another property that we add. Okay, and this one's a really good one as far as what we mean by exterior distress. So you can see as far as the paint, I mean, at one point this house was green. You can see that it's starting to fade. This one's going to have poor landscape. And then what you can't see, but what we could see because we were actually physically walking this house, is there's going to be some broken down cars on the left-hand side, and there's going to be piles of junk or trash in the backyards. Okay, and one way to verify that when you guys are driving for dollars is you guys can do this virtually from anywhere in the world. So what you guys can do is you can actually pull up the BatchDriven app, and it's going to show the aerial view, which is updated on a weekly basis for you guys to see, the broken down cars in the backyard, the trash or junk. And that's going to be another pain point that we look for to add to our Driving for Dollars folder. Okay, and this one was another good one. So this was actually one of the first houses that we saw. And the reason why we were able to pinpoint this property is because there's a tarp on the roof. You can see there's going to be some weights. There's going to be some bricks on the top. That's a blue tarp. So that was very easy for us to indicate that this house in this area was going to be a great spot for us to start driving for dollars. But other than that, the roof, there's going to be junk. There's going to be a broken down car on the left-hand side. That hits multiple pain points. So we're going to add that to our Driving for Dollars folder. And then we're going to come home and we're going to start skip tracing it. And then we're going to give it a cold call. Okay, but this is something that I wanted to highlight as well. The KPIs show for Driving for Dollars, 500 houses should equal 1 contract. But a lot of people, what I don't want to happen is a lot of people are going to come to us and they're going to say, well, Bryce, I have 500 houses, but I don't have a contract. So why is that? Okay, so what we came up with is called the rating system. Okay, and it's going to be 0 through 10. And if you guys are just adding, 2s or 3s, that's a good indication that you're not adding ugly or distressed properties to where those 500 houses aren't going to lead to a contract, right? If you're just adding 1s and 2s, it's probably going to take 1,000 houses to equal 1 contract. Okay, but if you're really adding maybe 6 or 7s, then you're going to have, a good chance of getting a contract within the first 500 properties. Okay, so I wanted to highlight this. You guys can take a picture of it, a screenshot, whatever you guys want. But those are what we look for as far as a rating system. And then if it's a 5 or more, meaning it has poor landscape, it needs exterior paint, has a boarded up window, has a damaged roof, and has junk, we're just going to actually go out and knock it. Okay, so we'll actually knock that. We have a general door knocking script that we can send to you guys as well. But this is the rating system that we use. So keep in mind, when you guys are adding these houses, make sure you're adding, 5s and 6 rather than 2s and 3s. Okay, so that's something that I wanted to clear up. But that's actually what a day-to-day basis looks like for us when we're driving for dollars, right? We're trying to add these 50 properties to our Driving for Dollars folder. We come home and then we skip trace them and then we start cold calling them. Okay, so that's actually what we do on a day-to-day basis. And then what we're going to do for the rest of this show, let's see here. We got about 14 minutes. So what we're going to do is actually hop onto the power dialer and we're going to see if we can get some people interested in a cash offer or maybe on creative finance. Okay, but in the meantime, I'm going to answer some questions, see if we have anything here. But that's all we do, right? We go out there, we drive for dollars, we add the 50 properties, and we just build this list and then we start the outreach, right? So the BatchDriven app allows you to do skip tracing from the app. You guys can export that list and put it into a power dialer, or you can send SMS campaigns, you can send mail campaigns. It truly is a one-stop shop to get your first deal, okay? Now there are some other applications out there, and we're not knocking any of those. Those are all great applications for you guys to get your first deal as well. But one thing that people do like is the ability that, they get live support. I go live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Arizona time on the BatchDriven YouTube. So if you have questions pertaining to, driving for dollars, you guys can hop on there and ask me any question. You guys can message me on Instagram. My handle is @BatchDrivenApp, and you guys can message me on there as well. And I reply pretty quickly for you guys that are just getting started as well. Okay, so I'm gonna answer a few questions and then we're just gonna hop on the power dialer for the remaining time and see what we can get going. Yep, so landscape, this is the 4 pillars for the people that are just hopping on. When we're actually driving for dollars, we want to hit 2 or more of these things. So 1 is going to be landscape, 2 is exterior distress, 3 is a damaged roof, 4 is trash or a broken down car. Okay, so as long as it hits 2 or more, we're going to add that to our driving for dollars list. Okay. So are those pictures you took or is that on batch? So 19 Legacy, those are pictures that I took. I actually take the pictures of the properties that we add to our driving for dollars folder. And then I go home and then we hop on this live and we actually cold call some of those properties. And Zachary, I wanted to highlight Zachary as well. He's been using the BatchDriven app. He's been super consistent. So Zach hops on the lives Monday through Friday. And he is, he's here in Indiana. So if you're in Indiana, make sure you're squatting up with Zach. Awesome. So John says, hey, Bruce, my boys Isaiah and I door knocked Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We walked and hit over 350 houses. 1 agreement, negotiating for sale by owner, and working on 4 other potential sellers. Yes, this business does work as long as you do. One thing that we do like about the BatchDriven app is you can actually pull up a list of pre-foreclosures. Obviously, it doesn't look like you're hitting pre-foreclosures, John. It looks like you're just hitting ugly houses, which is perfectly fine. But we like to focus on hitting those pre-foreclosures. So within the BatchDriven app, you can pull up a list of those pre-foreclosures, and then you can start your routes, and then you can actually go physically knock those doors if that's something you guys are open to. But John, that is awesome to hear. As long as you get out there and hit the doors, hit the pavement, you get in front of sellers and talk to people, you're eventually going to get that one deal. But great job, John. I just wanted to highlight that as well. So that's super awesome. Let me know what market you're in, John, just so we can have some people squat up with you if they want to come knock doors. No worries, John. Appreciate it. Hello. Ken, what's going on? Ken as well, he's been super consistent. He was actually in a Zoom call. He's actually squatting up with some other people within BatchDriven, and they're hopping on a Zoom and they're cold calling each other's leads. They're critiquing each other's cold calling pitch. So that's why a lot of people like the BatchDriven app as well, because we're surrounded by like-minded people that are trying to get better, and Ken is a great example of that. Yo, I just bought a dialer last week. Awesome. So we're about to hop onto that dialer. I just wanted to answer a few questions if we did have any. So Ken says, thinking about getting the batch dialer is connected to BatchDriven. No, but we use everything under the batch umbrella. So one thing that you can do is build your driving for dollars list within BatchDriven, and then you can take that data and you can export it into a batch dialer or any other applications as well. I'm over here hand dialing like grandma. Zach, that's actually what I did to get my first deal as well. It was a pain in the butt, but I didn't have the budget to afford a dialer. So I was doing exactly what you were doing, hand dialing, and eventually I found that one motivated seller. Run it up. Let's hear some cold calling of your leads today. Awesome. Let's hop on. Can you talk about what happens when you've hit a neighborhood so much when you have driving for dollars? Brandon, I don't quite understand your question. I'm sure it makes sense to you, but I don't quite understand what you mean by this. Are you talking about like after we recycle the list just like any other list? So we'll actually drive for dollars, and let's say we're in a neighborhood and we hit 50 properties. We're going to have a list of, let's say, 1,200 properties on our driving for dollars list. After we call through all of those 1,200 properties, we'll just recycle the list and we'll keep hitting it, right? We're not going to take these people off the list until they say, take me off your list, and then we'll mark them as DNC, which is do not call. Okay, so as long as they don't say take me off your list, then we're not going to take them off the list. We actually have a list that says not interested, and we'll actually cold call a not interested list as well. Okay, so most of these properties ideally are vacant. So why door knock? Would door knocking mean neighbors? So Philip, it really just depends on what you want to do. Me personally, I think it's most efficient for you to build a driving for dollars list and then go back, skip trace it, and then put it into the power dialer so you're reaching a wider audience faster. But we found that knocking doors is going to be very efficient in the future, just because you're doing things that other wholesalers aren't doing, right? You're getting uncomfortable, you're going in those positions, and you're actually getting face to face. Yep. So Brandon, so you just call the list again, or do you go back and drive through the neighborhood? Well, typically go back. I mean, we actually won't go back in 6 months. We'll just keep recycling through that list. Okay. So great question there, Brandon. Awesome. Yeah, of course, Philip. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to hop on the power dialer and we're going to see if we can get some motivated people. So it's not going to tell me who's calling me. We're calling 7 lines at once. So I'm just going to plug onto the power dialer and we're going to see if we can get anyone interested from today. All right, here we go. So we have about 1,600 leads. Okay, so we're available. So it's just gonna pop on the screen, and then we're gonna start. It's not gonna tell me when these people are gonna answer. Okay, we have about 1,600 leads. Let's see if we can get someone on the phone. And for those of you wondering, we have seven lines right now. So it's calling 7 phone numbers. If we do not get one in the next 10 seconds, I'm going to exit the campaign and go back in. Okay, so I'm going to exit it. I'm going to go back in so we can see if we can get someone on here and see. Okay, it's calling through. It's just no one's picking up. And this is typically the best time for us to cold call is usually in the mornings and evenings when people are going to work and when people are getting off. So let's see if we can get at least a few people on here before the show actually starts. So Brandon says, if you call 10 numbers on a dialer at one time and one picks up, does the dialer show the other 9 that you called them? Yes, and then it will actually leave some applications will actually leave a voicemail, or they'll just put them in the back of the queue. We got 3 minutes, so let's see if we can get someone on here. Yes, we use everything under the batch umbrella. Yeah, so GNO, is there a door knock script that you like to use? If you message me on Instagram on the BatchDriven app, I can give you a list of some of the scripts that we use. We have a general door knocking script, we have a pre-foreclosure script, and then a cold calling script as well. All right, we got 2 minutes. At least we can get someone on here. Let's see. Okay, it says I'm connected. I don't know why we're not getting any calls. Let's see. Well, I guess we're just gonna call it. We're gonna stop the campaign, and we'll be able to hop on again tomorrow. We do this 5 days a week, 4:30 p.m. Arizona time. My YouTube is at BatchDriven app. So if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe there. And then we'll actually cold call on there. I don't know why none of these are actually picking up, but you guys can message me here on Instagram as well. And I can send you some of the scripts that we use on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So yep, BatchDriven app. Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Yo,
Hey!
what is up?
Wholesale Hotline number 59.
Bro, I love that you're live in the actual TTP studio right now. I love it.
Wait. Not only that, check this out. Hit that real quick. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That is like, listen, if you are listening to this podcast later at Wholesale Hotline on iTunes, you will not see that fog machine. So you definitely have to check us out on YouTube as well. But we're excited. This is Wholesale Hotline number 59. We got 90 hot minutes of question and answers from everybody in the comments section. This is a live show, okay? This is for you. This is for you set up so that you can get the questions answered that you're looking for right now. And it is a pleasure to host this. It is a pleasure to be the lead generation host of this show. But this show is not complete with my other two hosts that really round out the wholesaling business, and that is Pace Morby talking about converting your seller leads, and Jamil Damji talking about how to exit, how to sell that, how to disposition that property. It is absolutely bananas. We're going to have so much fun here today, and I'm ready to go, guys. How you guys? You guys shake off that jet lag? You guys ready to go?
I felt muted. You ever feel muted, like a muted version of yourself? Like, I'm not sick, I'm just muted. And it's because Jamil and I were up late networking, hanging out with you, having a great time over in Tampa. And then the jet lag really does screw you up the older you get. It's a pretty significant thing. So, and then Jamil and I are flying back out to Key West on Thursday for another 3-day deal. And then we're going to I'm going to LA. We're going to be doing an LA meetup out there. I'm going to be in LA for 10 days. Then Jamil and I are going to Baltimore. Or where are we going? DMV, right?
Yeah, we're going to be in, I don't know where, Baltimore, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're going to a castle.
Jamil has no idea. Just text him the day of.
We're going to a castle. That's all I know. We're hanging out at a castle.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it, guys. Well, I'm excited. Real quick, on the way back, it was really interesting, and I wanted to point this out to everybody so that they can check it out. But on the way back, they're sitting there, you're able to watch, different movies or whatever. And there was a documentary that I want everybody watching this to see, and it's called Building Atlanta. And listen, I know who's behind you, Pace, there. Yeah, it is Herman J. Russell's story. And hold on, I think I could pop this up. Alejandro, can you share it with everybody? Well, we got a lot of things. This right here, can you guys see that? It's free on YouTube. It's called Building Atlanta, the story of Herman J. Russell. Absolutely incredible. You could put it back. I don't know if they can see it, Alejandro. But really, really, really excellent, excellent documentary. There's just not a lot, right, guys? There's just not a lot of like real estate documentaries that really show the whole thing. There's not a lot of business documentaries, to be honest. Businessmen are always the suits, right? The bad guys in every role in Hollywood. We're always greedy and we're always doing this thing. So it's really, really interesting. And I wanted to open it. Yeah, that's us, right? I wanted to open up the show with something that he said. Can you guys hear me okay? This thing's all...
We can hear you great, bro. Don't even stress out about it. We can hear you great.
There is a quote that Herman J. Russell said that I thought was fantastic. And he said this. He said, God was at his best when he gave me life. Right? I mean, can you imagine if everybody felt that way? Right? Could you imagine if that's the way you woke up, that you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a blessing. This is so, like, I've got special things to do today. I've got a special things to do with my life. That is, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's like that opens up the opportunities for everything throughout your day. If you believe truly that you have been blessed, that you are incredibly fortunate to be here and have the opportunity, but also you have that self-confidence to know that the world is waiting for you and waiting for you to enter, right? And waiting for you to show up and improve people's lives. I think it's absolutely incredible. And we get to do that every single day and week in our wholesaling business because we're solving people's problems. And that's what's really, really, really important. And I think that that's such a huge value of the business that we're in. What do you guys think?
I would change one word. I only got one comment and then go to Pace. I would, instead of saying waiting, I'd say the world is counting on you.
Love it. Love it. Counting on you. I love it.
Yeah, we're counting on you. We're counting on you to wake up and do your thing. Do the thing that God put you here to do. Sorry, what were you going to say, Pace?
Oh, I was just going to say about, you know how hard it was to get a freaking Uber in Tampa? There's a reason I'm bringing this up, but it was really hard to get an Uber in Tampa. So I waited and I had this kid that comes and picks me up in a little part of the city called Hyde Park in Tampa. And it took him 25 minutes. I watched him on the app. Took him 25 minutes just to drive to me. So of course, I'm going to tip the guy well. I feel bad. He drove all the way out there. And he goes, oh man, I've never been here. This is where all the wealthy people live. And I was like, yeah, it looks like it, And I was there. I had to shop because I ran out of clothes. And I had to go buy a shirt or whatever. And I went to a spot that I usually shop at. And he says to me, he goes, yeah, man, you got to make at least like $65,000 to $75,000 a year to live here. And I was like, more like a month, and it shocked me that sometimes the mindset is so overlooked. And mindset is not about positivity, right? Always. Mm-hmm. Mindset is about being around people and realizing that $65,000 a year as an entrepreneur is not what the goal should be, right? But it's not until you start hanging out with other people that you realize that the goal line has been pushed multiple times, right? So I start talking to him and I go, well, yeah, that's blah, 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 blah. He goes, what do you do? Why are you even in this area? And I go, well, I'm in real estate. And I tell him what wholesaling is. And he goes, why have I never heard of this? I go, you've never heard of TTP? You've never heard of Max Maxwell? You've never heard of Jamil Damji? You've never heard of Wholesale Hotline? He's like, dude, oh my gosh, my mind is melting. I work a full-time job Monday through Friday. And then I work Uber on Saturdays to essentially fill the gaps between the bills. And he's like, if I knew something like this would happen, all I'd have to do is do 2 deals a year to never have to Uber drive again. And I think that we forget how lucky we really are. Number one, to Brent's point, that we're alive and that we're healthy and that we're getting to hang out with everybody. But 2, that we're so ingrained in this business that we're around hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people all the time that all have the same common goal that we do, which is go find distressed real estate to help sellers and ultimately put ourselves in a better financial position as well. There is no better business on planet Earth. And somehow, some way, we were the lucky ones that found it. And everybody else is out there slaving away on Saturdays and Sundays, thinking, being around people that think $40,000 a year is the goal, $50,000 a year is the goal. So it was interesting, even us going to that mastermind the other day or, last week, being around guys that are making $30 million on one deal, $40 million on one deal. Dolph, I was watching another video of his, one of the guys in our mastermind made $84 million on one deal. And what was the common thread of going to that mastermind is that we aren't thinking big enough.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 100%. Think bigger, think bigger, think bigger. Yeah, that's what it is. And listen, people are listening. They're like 80 million. I haven't even done a deal yet. Like, what do I eat? It starts with just taking the actions. It starts with being out there and having those conversations. It starts with not just watching YouTube and listening to podcasts, but actually getting into your community and finding those distressed property owners and starting a relationship. And that's where it starts. And that's where every single one of these guys started at the bottom. None of them came from some sort of, background, real estate background or family background, or had the opportunity to get like a cheat code that nobody else had. No, these guys all started out with finding deals that were just ugly houses on the street and then went bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's it's so exciting. I mean, it's like literally the greatest. Like, I was sitting there seeing these guys do these big things and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. That's what the future looks like. That's what I want to be doing. And it's exciting. Yeah.
So today the topic of conversation is all about equity. And when we came up with this conversation, we get a lot of people ask, like, what is equity and why is it important? People don't understand exactly what it is. I think Jamil probably runs into this more than anybody else, but you get guys and gals in this business that are trying to get deals done, right? They're trying to elevate. They're trying to get that first deal, and they just go see a motivated seller and they think it's a deal. So we are going to be talking about equity. What is it and why is it important? And we're going to deep dive. We want to see questions in the comments. We're going to be jumping through, doing a lot of Q&A today from the side chat. Jamil, how often do you get sent a deal where somebody thinks a deal is a deal, but you're like, wow, how do you expect anybody to make any money on this deal?
All the time. In fact, I mean, that's the reason why I'm so vocal about understanding valuation and knowing your numbers and running comparables and really understanding that, because, the fact is what we're doing when we don't understand value, when we don't understand equity, when we don't understand as is value, potential equity, potential value, after repair value, when we don't know the nuances and what it takes to get a house from here to there, right? When we don't understand these things and we just go at this blindly, the problem that we run into then is just a lot of spinning tires, a lot of canceled contracts, a lot of frustration. And it's the frustration, it's those setbacks, it's those drawbacks that ultimately lead to people exiting the business, right? You guys know this as coaches. The thing that I've seen that has pushed more people away from entrepreneurship than anything else is they think they're doing the right thing. They think they're out there lead generating. They think they're working hard, and they are working hard. They are working hard. The problem is that there's a difference between working hard and actually working correctly, right action, right work. You can be doing hard work, like, chopping down a tree, but going at it the totally wrong way, or you could be doing it the right way and get the right result. And so what we are trying to get you guys to understand in this episode of Wholesale Hotline is knowing how to determine how much equity a property has. And when you determine how much equity a property has, knowing what the right path, what you should be doing with that seller based off of the information you have at your hands with respect to equity. How can you create new equity? How can you sell a piece of that equity off? I mean, that's all the business.
Did you say create new equity?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
I'm excited about hearing about all this stuff. I'm like super pumped. Every time I get to listen to Jamil on stage or, in front of a group, I learn something. Jamil's been in this business since 2002. Not only did he get his first deal walking for dollars, he was actually walking his dog. I think his dog found the deal. It wasn't Jamil. His dog barked and was like, yo, this is a deal, bro. Like, we need to get this deal. He made millions of dollars, and his business fell apart because of the economic crash in 2008 and 2009. And Jamil has now parlayed that failure into one of the biggest successes in all of wholesale. And in that endeavor and in that challenge, that path that you followed, you have been interfaced with thousands and thousands of wholesalers who are working very hard, but continually hit a roadblock of not understanding the value of a home. And so here they are TTPing, right? Talking to people and negotiating like nobody's business with the seller, but they don't even know what the mark is. They don't even know what the target is. And so I don't want us to go through comping today. Definitely not going to go through comping because we did that a couple of weeks ago, guys. If you want to understand comping rules and appraisal rules, Jamil did that for us on Wholesale Hotline, I think 3, maybe 4 episodes ago. So we're going to stay away from deep diving only on comping. But I want to understand, if I'm a fix and flipper, or let's say I'm a wholesaler, Jamil, and I sell a deal to Keegley, or I bring a deal to Keegley, which is your company, your disposition company, your company that sells deals for wholesalers to cash buyers. What the hell do cash buyers do with those houses? What are the things they are doing, and why do they need equity to make them work? What are the couple of things that a cash buyer is doing when you sell them a deal from Keegley?
Well, I want to use the correct terms, right? So when we're selling a deal to a cash buyer, that cash buyer is looking at that property and saying, okay, in its current condition, the price that I'm paying for this property makes sense. I plan to invest or add value to this property and create new equity. So for those of you that are trying to wrap your head around what I mean by creating new equity, that's what I mean. You create new equity in a property when you add value to a property. When you renovate a home, you're creating new equity. You're adding value to that property. When you do improvements or you add square footage or you add a pool, you create new equity. And that's what rehabbers are trying to do when we sell them deals, right? And so what they're looking at is there a potential to add new equity to this property?
That's it.
If there's a potential to add new equity to this property, then are you willing to sell me that opportunity or sell a bit of that potential to me so I can take the risk and go and try and create new equity? That is the model. That's what we're doing here.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
I think that's so important. Potential equity. People are like, well, wait, you're lowballing people? No, we're buying it at the value of the current condition. Now, the potential value, once money's been invested into it, is way bigger. But yeah, absolutely. But it's potential equity. Right now, this is the value of the property because of its current condition. right? Very rarely. And you can let me know, Jamil, is it, I need to sell this house really fast and move out of state. So I'm going to sell it at 65% of value so that it's a cash as is quick offer. No, listen to me. And it's a perfect condition house. They just remodeled it. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful house. No, these properties that we're going after need substantial renovation. The properties that we're going after have substantial emotional distress for the owner, right? Those are the properties that we go after, and the potential equity is what you really sell when you're selling these and getting in front of your cash buyers, and your cash buyers that understand what they're doing, understand what that potential is, and they grab up those deals really fast. And people in our market in Phoenix, guys, I mean, people understand the potential.
For sure. And that's another thing, Brent, is a lot of times new wholesalers getting into the market, they get this ethical conundrum they get into, and they say, I just don't want to lowball people. I just feel bad offering people so little for their home. I feel I can't sleep at night, or I'm something wrong is going to happen to me, or God's going to punish me for this. And it's because they still don't understand that concept, right? When these news stories come out where they talk about, this predatory wholesaler bought this house that should be worth this much, and they paid this much for it. They're still not being explained the situation. Look, let's look at McDonald's, right? You look at McDonald's, the whole process of a Big Mac. Big Mac was once a cow, okay? It started off as a cow. So when they slaughter that cow and they ground that chuck, the value of the buns, the lettuce, the special sauce, the onions, and the 2 patties and the cheese, maybe 30 cents, okay? Maybe 30 cents. Yet I go to McDonald's and I pay like $8 for it at the drive-thru. Is that criminal? No. There's that value added through the whole process. Supply chains, the workers, slaughterhouse, baking the bread, chopping the onions. Look, every one of those things is an addition of value. Right up until the point where the dude in the back is frying my hamburger, putting it in the box, and the lady puts it in the bag, and then the other person who's got to clean the tables, all of those people need to get paid. All of that adds value to the situation. That's why my Big Mac's $8. That's it.
That's it.
So it's the wholesale process, guys. All we're doing is getting into the situation at the point of the cow.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we're doing.
Yep.
So stop feeling bad about this, because all you are is a front runner. All you are is a person getting ahead of the curve. And I think America is going to get a bigger understanding of the model of wholesaling once Pace and I have an opportunity, and Brent as well as you, when we have an opportunity to talk to them about what this business model truly is. This is a very, very helpful way for people to be able to trade in these assets. You know, most Americans don't even know that they can buy a fixer-upper, that's available to them.
No, they think they have to go through their real estate agent and go through and wait around and go see listings and do that. And that's the only way that they can find an opportunity. That's why wholesaling truly is the foundation of the real estate investing business. All wholesaling means is finding discounted properties. That's it. The potential for equity. That's it. You know what I mean? I mean, that truly is it. And I think that, from a moral standpoint, I feel fantastic every single day working with these sellers. They hug us. They send us thank you notes. They send us flowers. They love on us. Not all of them. Some of them just disappear and, go on with their lives. But I'm telling you, it is the most rewarding business, and you get to start out your real estate investing journey working in your community and then going and upgrading into bigger apartments, doing some sub-2 deals, doing creative financing, building a portfolio, becoming a real estate developer. Guys, how many people have we seen start out young in their business, finding deals and selling deals for 5, 10, 15,000 that are now developers, that are now have huge portfolios, that are now lending money, that are now doing incredible commercial properties or whatever else. It's absolutely outstanding, but they understood and found that if you are proactive and you're going out there and you're looking for opportunities of potential equity, you're going to find it. And then it's just, how big do you want to go? Love it.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
I can't hear Pace. Pace, are you on? Are you unmuted?
Oh, sorry. I muted myself because I got a little baby girl that walked by the office. I apologize.
Bring her in.
I've seen this. You know, I personally don't know Investor Lift, but for people that I know that have been involved or paid the money, they get you for a couple of months. You check their list out. Unfortunately, I haven't heard of any success stories of deals actually completing. And so I haven't personally used them, but I wouldn't because
Can I answer this from a non-biased third party? I know the answer. I know the answer 100%. Okay. Cause I use Keegly and I have a couple of people I know that use Investor Lift as well.
Yep.
Jamil is right. Investor Lift is one of these things. Here's what's the value add. What's the equity build with Keegly? The value add with Keegly is that you have a person that communicates with you and helps you understand where to lock up the deal at before you lock up the deal. Here's what happens with Investor List. There's nobody helping you. Nobody that you're communicating with on a daily basis that says, hey, I've got this deal I'm negotiating with. Where's the customer support? Where's the bridging of the gap between the two parties? So what I see is people paying $2,000 a month to have access to a buyer's list. And then they lock up a deal. They go to the buyer's list and the buyer's list basically rejects that deal because they lock it up incorrectly.
Right.
That's the difference between Keegly. Keegly is that key. They're the ones that open that door to understanding where you need to buy that deal at. That is the answer. So Investor Lift, while there is a service there, that's great. Guys, we can all pull lists of buyers from Batch Leads and from PropStream and all these places. We can pull lists. The value is having somebody by your side, almost like a partner in your business that will help you understand the value human to human. That is worth millions of dollars, and it doesn't actually cost you any money until you get a deal. And even then, it doesn't cost you money because by and large, Keegly sells the deals that I give them over what I could have sold it for in the first place.
Right. And in addition to that, Pace, thank you for that. I appreciate that. You know, I've had this conversation before, right? I think that when you blindly blast properties to a list, it's irresponsible. There's no relationship built there. You know how many emails buy and hold or fix and flip investors get a day with properties on them? These guys are out in the field all day long, looking at rehabs, doing work. You think they're going through 35, 40 emails a day? Not a chance. They're going to go through one or two, and they go through and work with companies they have built relationships with. So again, I don't know Investor Lift. I don't know what their process is with building relationships on the back end of that. But the individuals that I know that have used it, they've paid the subscription and they haven't been able to connect the dots. So that would be like me charging everybody who wants to dispo a house through Keegly a subscription of $2,000 a month before we even do a deal. You know what that reminds me of? Those people in Hollywood that say, hey, headshots, $200. No. If they really wanted you, you'd get the headshots for free.
Yeah, right.
Wait,
why they got to charge you ahead?
What do you charge up front, Jamil? What do you charge up front for people to get like comps and
hugs
work with you guys?
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
They pay you in compliments.
Yes.
I mean, they essentially replace 3 positions in your company when you're first starting out. So it's invaluable how valuable they are. And, you know, you get stuff like, look at Keegly Dispo, everybody in the side chat. Keegly Dispo. It's ran by Thomas Martinez. That was one of the most watched videos we've ever had on Wholesale Hotline, was Thomas Martinez coming in and walking through the process and all the value add. People were freaking, their minds were melting by how much value is being brought. And then you see people in the side chat, like Steve H is like, dude, Keegly is the freaking way to go. They're professional people. Now, here's another question I see in the side chat. I'll jump on while I have the stage. Drew Selby says, hey guys, what is the best way to know someone is a dedicated buyer when using Batch or PropStream? Okay. Now I had a debate last night. Somebody's saying, what's better, Batch Leads or PropStream? And I said, you know what? What's better? Albertsons or Bashes? I don't know. Sometimes I go to Bashes because they have better avocados. Sometimes I go to Albertsons because they've got the freaking orange monsters I like. neither one of them are perfect. Okay. Neither one of them are better than the other. It just depends on what flavor you like and what you're particularly looking for. Okay. But you can go into both apps, both PropStream and Batch Leads. What's the discount code for PropStream, TTP? What's the TTP discount code?
It's just ttpdata.com.
Okay, so if you go to ttpdata.com or you go to batchleads.io/squad up, you'll get discounts on that, which is cool. But Jamil, I want you to correct me where I'm wrong on this. For me and on my team, when we're looking for buyers on, for deals in multiple states all over the country, we typically will go in and there's a filter on both PropStream and on Batch Leads that will show me a buyer has bought at least 2 deals in the last calendar year. Is there a number that you look at? Because again, a lot of cash buyers, guys, from public data can't decipher whether somebody is an investor or if it's somebody that just has a shit ton of cash and moved into a house for their family. The only filter I know about is amplifying how many houses those people have bought, utilizing those built-in tools that PropStream and Batch Leads utilizes on their software.
So for us, it makes no difference to us whether Batch Leads or PropStream said that these guys closed 2 deals or in the last calendar year or not. We reach out to and have relationships with every single buyer on our list.
Yep.
That's just it. When I run a house to a buyer, they're paying attention to that deal. That's the difference, right? It's the difference between going into the noise or going into the abyss of nothingness, which is the promotion section of everyone's Gmail, or being the authority in a space, which Keegly is, being the authority, the deal aggregator, the place where every investor knows that all of the deals are put together and they've been vetted, the contracts are real, the numbers are real. That's why investors trust it. That's why that's the only place they want to go to look.
Yeah, you want to vet out a buyer. How about you talk to them?
Yeah.
How about you talk to them and just see what they're buying? It doesn't have to be an interrogation. You could simply just have a conversation and say, hey, listen, I want to send you the best deals, but I don't want to send you, properties that you have no interest in. So what are you buying? What's a typical deal look like for you? Any of those things, having those conversations, you're going to build an incredible cash buyer database. And they'll actually respond to you when you reach out to them with a deal. You know what I mean? And I think that's really the answer to that question is just have a conversation with them, talk to them, treat them like humans. Listen, filter out. You're going to see the people that are really easy to work with versus the people that aren't easy to work with. And you'll do a lot of business with the people that are easy to work with. And they build a reputation because they know what you're giving them. They know the potential equity that you are sending to them. And they're going to treat you right. So,
Jamil, you want to jump on this question right here on the screen, read it out loud for the podcast listeners and answer it?
Real quick, before I get to Al Edmondson, there was a comment, N. Zeher, I believe. They said that they had tried to get a comp from Keegly, but they were told to get a house under contract before they called back. So we do have independent franchise offices, N. Zeher. So I don't know what your full name is, but reach out to Keegly Dispo. They'd be happy to help you with numbers. Possibly you might have connected with a brand new franchise. So we'd love to be able to help you out. And maybe there was just a miscommunication on what that was, because we're happy to provide you with buy numbers before you go and get a property under contract. So it sounds to me like there could have been a miscommunication there, and we'd like to get that settled for you. Al's comment in the comments was, can you speak on local cash buyers who steal or attempt to steal or usurp your work by taking deals from you? What would you do about that? So, Al, are there unscrupulous people out there? Yeah, it happens, right? Are there folks, cash buyers out there that will go and knock on a seller's door and monitor every wholesaler's list to try to, screw up deals? It happens. There's a few weirdos out there that do it. There's a couple of guys here in Arizona that did that for a while until they got ran out of town. But the fact is if you live from that space, Al, if you stay in that space of fear that people are going to go around you, that people are going to try and steal your deal, you won't do any deals. You'll be crippled with that fear. And what I would say is, instead of assuming that everybody's going to do something wrong, or that everybody's going to try and take your deal from you, understand that if you have your deal under contract, okay, that if you've created rapport with your seller and you've explained to them that how this situation is going to work out, you shouldn't even be worried about buyers knocking on your seller's door and trying to bomb your deal. I, in fact, know for a fact that Pace will tell his sellers, hey, I just want to let you know that now that I've put this under contract, people are going to come and try and offer you all kinds of crazy things and try and, outbid me. They're not real buyers. These are people that are just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall. And I'm letting you know that ahead of time, that if people come and bug you, it's not real. Just give me a call and let me know that it's taken place. But Pace will set that expectation ahead of time. So Al, again, if you've built rapport with your sellers and you've set the expectations correctly, you shouldn't even have to be concerned about this. It's always better to live in a space of abundance, in a space of knowing that most people in the world will do the right thing, and then work from there.
Yeah. Have that conversation. Have that conversation with the owner of the property. Exactly like, Pace, you could kind of elaborate on it, but we had to do it during the time when we had a few jokers in our market going to every deal that we'd put out and taking the phone, and this is what they're doing, and they're selling the deal and the whole thing. We would just simply have a conversation with the property owner and let them know to expect that. And if anybody came around, to give them my number, and it went away. We haven't had a problem like that in years, truly. And I think you're right. If you think about it, it's going to manifest, right? It's going to happen. You're going to be worried about that. I got my first deal. I hope some big giant whale in the market here that does a lot of deals doesn't come and swoop it up and send their henchmen to go after these properties. That's all fantasy. That's all fantasy. Don't think like that. Think that everything's going to go smooth and you're going to do you do a great job for this property owner, and you're going to do a great job for your cash buyer. And that's what happens.
We got a lot of new people on the show today. I don't know if you guys are watching these comments. We got a lot of new people. It's incredible.
So good.
Yep.
Here's a great question. So Patrick Brown says, you guys should have RJ Bates on one of the episodes for sure. RJ Bates is a good friend of all three of ours. I was just on RJ Bates' show a week ago. We love RJ, and I was just texting him about coming on to Wholesale Hotline. We just have a couple of things booked out for the next month, but we are in communication with his team to get him on here for sure. He's awesome. So Kev, he says, I can't pay for an attorney. I just want to know if I can do a deal without one. TTP, please give us the answer to this.
Yeah, here you go, Kev. Really, really, really great question. I don't know if you're in an attorney state or more of a traditional title and escrow state, but if you are in a type, just Google it, just see if you need a closing attorney in your market. If you do, remember that they get paid through the escrow process. They get paid with the closing costs from the buyer. All right. Now, I think it's really good to build a relationship with a real estate attorney in your market. And that's why I always suggest that you do the little hack of going into or talking to a title and escrow company in your market and finding a good one. Just go to Facebook and make a post. Who's the best title and escrow company in my market, whatever market it is, and then set up an appointment to meet with their in-house attorney, their in-house counsel, and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be bringing you guys a lot of deals, and I just want to make sure that all my paperwork is really, really, really solid. Can you give me an example of a contract that you guys really like that I can go out there and go through it? If you have questions, have them explain it to you. And that's a way to hack that, right? That's a way to get in there. And listen, title companies and some closing attorneys, especially if they're newer to the business and they're building their book of business, they'll have that 30-minute conversation with you, and then you're off and running. So I think that you can get a lot of legal advice that you don't have to necessarily go out and pay for just by being loud and asking them and telling them, I'm going to bring you a lot of deals. Right,
hey,
Jamil?
TTP, I think this is another question for you right here on the screen.
Yeah, I love it, Steve. So in Arizona, we disclose on our contract that we're a licensed real estate. We have an active real estate license. So it just depends on what you have to do with the disclosures in your state. If you have to literally tell somebody the first conversation that you're having with them, then tell them. It's no big deal. I just want to let you know I have an active real estate license. I don't want to represent you. I want to be the buyer. I want to buy this property. That's why I have my license, so that I can use it to resell it or whatever you want to say there. But it's really no big deal. I would just find out what the disclosure laws are in your state, and that way you're not the Department of Real Estate isn't concerned with your efforts. So just whatever the disclosures are, just find out. Easy peasy.
So, all right. The answer for us is that we have virtual assistants that do all of our cold calling. My partner, actually 2 of my partners are licensed realtors. And no, we do not call the sellers and let them know. However, our contract that we send over to the contract that we send over to the seller says, hey, seller, just so you know, and you're aware, is that one of the principles of this business is a licensed realtor and is not representing you as a real estate agent in this transaction. Okay. So the disclosure is important for sure. Jamil, this one's an interesting one. And I think it's maybe answered 2 different ways. James Conway says, if I can get a deal, should I use constant close and then send it over to Keegley, or should I just go straight to Keegley with the agreement?
And explain kind of what constant close is. Sorry, Jamil.
Yeah. So constant close is really high level transaction coordination. So James, if you've already got your contracts in place, you understand how to use them, you've got a closing attorney or a title company that you're going to use, I don't think it's necessary to use constant close in that circumstance. However, if you don't have those things, if you don't have your contract figured out, if you don't have a closing attorney that you work with, if you don't have a title company that you work with, if you're unsure of the way that the documents need to be prepared, constant close is an amazing resource to help you get through that. The thing that Keegley will always offer, so what we do in disposition services is we actually assist in the transaction coordinating. So it could be redundant. It just depends on if you've got clarity on your contracts or not. So, James, if you do have clarity on how your contracts work and you've got a title company you use, it's not super necessary. But if you don't, or if it's a creative deal or a more complicated deal, like it's got, liens or judgments or things that need to be negotiated, title issues, if it's got any of those problems, then constant close will absolutely be worth the money.
I see people talking about you popping your shirt off, Jamil, and it's just making me smile over here. That's awesome. I like that question there by Keyshawn, if we can get on that, the important about equity and pre-foreclosures, because I think that's really great. Pace, do you want to tackle this one?
Keyshawn Harrell says, may you guys talk about how important equity is needed with pre-foreclosures and how to make an offer based off the equity in the property. Okay. So, the reason Brent called me onto the stage is because we buy a lot of deals with no equity. In fact, we just bought a mobile home park in Indiana that I probably paid 40 grand over retail for the deal. But the mobile home park in Indiana, we bought on seller finance. So I didn't have to get a loan. The seller actually created a little fancy IOU to me saying, hey, Pace, you owe me $700,000. And you can pay that to me over 30 years. So I was okay overpaying for the property, because the main thing I care about on creative finance deals is what do I put into the deal, usually $0, and how much do I get out of it, all based on cash flow. So let me ask you a question, Keyshawn, regarding equity. Would you jump out of an airplane with no parachute if somebody gave you $100,000? Okay, but that's question number 1. Question number 2, would you pay $1 million for a house that's only worth $100,000? I think both questions, people are going to say no to both of those. So let me go back to question number 1. What if I told you that the airplane was grounded on the ground? Would you now jump out of the airplane for $100,000? I sure would. It's probably a 5 to 10 foot drop depending on the airplane. And if it's Max Maxwell's airplane, you can literally just slide off the wing and it's a 1 foot drop. Okay. So would you now, right? So get all the facts, get all the figures. Now, question number 2, would I pay $1 million for a $100,000 property? The answer is, it depends on what the payment is for that $1 million. What if I have a seller that says, I want $1 million for this house, even though it's only worth $100,000? And I say, okay, great. What if I pay you $100 for the next 1,000 years? And I can rent that thing out for $1,000 a month. So in 1,000 years, my family's going to make $900 a month in cash flow. Equity is not as important on creative finance deals. Now, am I just dramatically overpaying for properties by hundreds of thousands of dollars? No, I'd say 95% of my properties are under market value, but they're, in the 90 percentile, right? So I can pay in the 90%, 90 cents on the dollar for a property utilizing creative finance. And if I choose to do so, check this out. This house that I bought right here, okay? This house I bought 14 months ago. I bought it, had zero equity. How much equity do you think it has today? I bought it for $390,000, sub 2, 14 months ago. That house is now worth $550,000 in 14 months. Now, we've had a little bit of an anomaly with this market, but still in 1 year, a little over 1 year, I've made $160,000, $170,000 in equity. It's been insane what's happened in this market. Insane. So remember, when it comes to with equity, if I'm going to fix and flip that property, I really need equity in a short time frame. If I'm going to do creative finance deals, I can wait for equity to come to me over a longer period of time, as long as I have cash flow every single month. In fact, Jamil's been to the property I just bought in not Miami, but Atlanta. I paid full retail, $1.1 million.
You paid $100K over full retail, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. So I paid $100,000 over retail for a $1 million plus property in Atlanta.
Yep.
And that property, the tenants just texted me. His name is Max. He just texted me today. He said, hey, we're moving out on April 15th.
Hey, that's great news.
It's great news. I'm going to turn that into an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. The Airbnb in that neighborhood is bringing in an average of $20,000 a month for houses similar to mine. Some are lower, some are higher, but the average is about $20,000 a month. Okay. It's about $700 to $800 a night is how much that house will bring me. My payment to the seller is $3,800. So do I really care that I overpaid $100,000 for that property? Because I didn't come up with that $100,000. Who's coming up with that $100,000 are my Airbnb tenants. They're the ones paying it.
Right.
So thank goodness to Airbnb. So equity is not as important when it comes to sub 2, seller finance, novation agreements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's primarily critical when it comes to a cash transaction or the knuckleheads that are utilizing the BRRRR strategy. And I say knuckleheads because, again, I really would love to actually, I don't know if this is something you guys would be interested in, having a lender come on here one day and talk to us.
Yep.
But I have a top 1% lender. His name is Brian Gething, and him and I were texting back and forth today about an article, which we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Let me pull it up one more time for the audience. There's an article that just came out talking about how challenging it is right now for you to go out and get a conventional loan for a secondary home or a rental property. Okay. And here's the article right here. New rule means higher fees for investment properties and mortgages. So now what they're going to be doing, if you guys go down, we scroll down just a little bit, you're going to see that they are adding 2.5% to the upfront fee of purchasing these homes. So the higher closing costs for borrowers, and even if you put 25% down, it doesn't matter. And let's say you can't pay that 2.5% fee. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to add 2% to your interest rate, which adds hundreds of thousands of dollars to the total price of that home. Now, here's what my buddy said. I'm gonna give you guys a little screen share and actually pull this up, okay? Because this is interesting what he said, and you guys will get some feed. You guys will get some value out of this. Check this out. So here's the text message with him. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this was today. I said, is this what I think it is? They are requiring people to pay 2% plus or a fee or pay 2% higher interest rate on non-primary homes. He says, another major announcement from Fannie Mae, basically zero heads up to lenders on this. So rates were adjusted almost immediately. So yes, rates on second homes and investment homes have gone up 2% in pricing, not rate. Example, 3.75% rate had points before this happened. Now, blah, 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 blah. I said, great news for me, honestly. As you know, I buy most everything on seller finance and sub 2, the existing loan. He says, yes, more reason to do seller finance and less of a reason to use us. Ha, 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 ha. So I asked him to be on a YouTube video with me so we can talk about this, but I'd love to bring him on Wholesale Hotline and talk about what the process is for his borrowers who are going out and buying deals from Keegley, renovating the property, and then going and refinancing it into a low interest rate, conventional loan. I would love to bring Brian on here. I think he does something like, I don't know. He's massive. I know the guy's making a lot of money and doing very, very well. Do you think that would bring value to the audience if we had a lender come in here?
So much.
100%. And congratulations to Brian. The last text of that message was he's having a baby in a week.
Yes.
So we might have to wait a little bit to get him, but maybe he just wants to escape and jump on a Wholesale Hotline with us. We'll see.
Actually, I think I could bring him in here next Monday. I was going to set up a YouTube video with him on Tuesday, but I know that he could get in here on Monday next week. If that's next week.
We've got Jacob Blank next Monday coming in.
That's right. We will have to wait about a month then, because he's going to have that baby, and that's going to be a challenge for him for sure. But anyway, hopefully that's a very long-winded answer about equity. So I apologize.
Well, Keyshawn, listen, 2 things for wholesale deals: equity and motivation. Equity and motivation. So yes, if you are looking at pre-foreclosures, you need to make sure that they have enough equity. Not only that, but you have to understand how far back are they. As we're coming out of this forbearance, things are stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. They might owe $100,000, but with penalties and back payments and everything else, it could be 115, 120. You need to find these things out so that you're not locking up deals with the intention of, they only owe this amount. You need to know what their total loan payoff is with all of the expenses, all of the different fees that they get hit with, to understand if you can stop that foreclosure by closing on that deal before the actual auction date for that property. Make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, you need equity for wholesale deals. I mean, unless you're going to wholesale a sub 2 or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, wholesaling a sub 2, you don't need a lot of equity. It's preferred if you have a little bit, but I'll buy deals. I just bought that mobile home park. We're buying it a little over retail value. What's funny is I just did a deal with April Giuliano, one of my sub 2 students. She's selling me a condo in West Palm Beach. Okay. Mm-hmm. Condo, again, I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb. No credit, no credentials. I'm buying it from a real estate attorney whose husband passed away, and she's just getting rid of all of her properties. And she says to me on the phone, so you're not even going to negotiate with me on price? I go, no. What do I care about the price? And she's like, what do you mean? What do you not care about the price? I go, you've already given me the terms that I need to make this work. I want to give you the price that you want, so we have a long lasting relationship. And she's like, wow, this is like unlike any negotiation I've ever been a part of. And I said, here's the reality. I'm not going to pay that house off. My Airbnb tenants are. So what I really care about is how low of a down payment I can give you and how quickly we can close so I can start cash flowing immediately. Those are the things you really care about with creative finance more than anything else. Now, you're going to get some old heads. You're going to get some guys in here go, no, you should have equity. And I confront those guys and I go, tell me when equity pays your bills. It doesn't. Equity never pays your bills. And the reality is most of the time, if you guys want to get into high level creative finance, what most of these guys are doing is they're continually the house pays off. What do? They go get a home equity line of credit against the house to go buy more houses with it. So even they are never paying these houses off all the way. Right? That's high level stuff. Because let's say that I buy a house subject to, right? Let's say that I buy a $200,000 house for $200,000. I give the seller no money out of pocket. I've done this multiple times. We've shown it, given you guys examples, etc. 30 years later, the house is completely paid off, right? Because it's a 30-year mortgage. Well, number one, that house isn't worth $200,000 anymore. It's probably close to $700,000 after 30 years. But what I can do once that house is paid off is I can go get a loan against it for $700,000. And that $700,000 is what? Tax free.
Yeah. It's a loan.
And then I turn around and I keep cash flowing, and the new tenant just keeps paying that thing down for my kids for the next 30 years.
I see a lot of people doubling up as much as possible, getting all their portfolios to about 50%, selling half of them and paying off the rest and living off the cash flow.
Kevin R says, is seller finance controversial? I would say seller finance is not controversial. I would say that subject to has some controversial things, kind of like the boogeyman, right? Kind of like with wholesale. What do we get in wholesale? It's like, oh, you guys are robbing people's equity. But you know what? Every seller I've ever met with has cried or thanked me for buying their house and saving them from a situation. So that's just a boogeyman tale of a realtor or somebody that doesn't understand wholesale saying something they don't understand. It's the same thing with subject to. People bring up the due on sale clause. Now, if you're in my sub 2 training, you go into the due on sale clause part and you're like, oh my gosh, everybody on the internet has had this wrong. Here's Pace lays it out. He shows due on sale clause insurance. He shows all these things I've never even heard about. Oh my gosh, epiphany. So anything you hear about subject to that sounds like a boogeyman tale, I can tell you it's somebody that just doesn't understand it. Outside of that, it's not controversial. It's widely used and widely recognized for the last hundreds of years. Multifamily, the main way that people buy multifamily properties is through seller finance, because most people can't go get $10 million, $15 million, $20 million loans without syndicating and bringing hundreds of investors to the table. So what they do is they ask the previous sellers, will you seller finance this for me for 2 years so I can raise the rents and I can go out and then secure the funding that I need. Seller finance and creative finance is used commonly in higher circles, which is why these people are making millions and millions of dollars.
Love it.
Well, and that's the beauty of real estate investing. Think about you being that guy, right? Mm-hmm. You have this building, you're ready to sell it, you're ready to get out of it, but you still like making money from it. So then you become the bank. I mean, gosh, the path is just incredible. I mean, it's a rocket ship. It truly is. Your logo's perfect.
It's incredible.
Real quick, Alejandro Arac, I believe that's how you pronounce your last name. He wants us to comp some land. We're not comping on today's episode, guys, but I do a weekly comping show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific on my YouTube channel. Bring all of your deals. I know Robin Hurt has a deal for us to comp. A lot of you guys have been showing up to that on Wednesdays. I appreciate you guys doing that. It's a lot of fun. It's like, for me, it's probably next to Wholesale Hotline, the other real fun thing I get to do all week. And I just love for all of you to bring your real fun and interesting deals, and we'll comp them, and I'll tell you what you should offer on it.
Awesome. And listen, if you can't make a show, which you should, and watch it afterwards, we go live 10 o'clock Wednesdays right here in the studio. We don't do the whole show. It's not all comping, but we do some. So if you're more of a morning person, jump on there as well. But definitely check out Jamil's masterful comping that he does every Wednesday at 2, right?
Every Wednesday at 2.
Boom.
Pacific.
Jamil was on here last week comping.
All day, baby.
You like blew everybody's mind because everybody's like, wait a second. To know if it's a deal or not, if it's over 200,000 or 250,000, you give 70% and that's the price. And if it's under that, you give 50% and it's that easy. You know, and if people are just like, no, you got to go through all these filters and equations, and you got to get all this stuff, and you got to, make sure that you go out with your tape measure and measure the square footage of the house.
I got to go to a seller's house you know how I never go on seller's appointments?
Yeah.
Well, every twice a month I get my insurance agent sends me a referral. And so he sent me another referral, and I have to go to Fountain Hills tomorrow to go and check out a house in Fountain Hills. And again, same situation, right? I already know what I've got to pay for this house, but this guy flew all the way from the Netherlands. He wants to feel like I'm making a real informed decision on so I'm going to drive all the way to Fountain Hills tomorrow, knowing exactly what I can pay for the house. I don't even need to see the house. As long as it's not burnt down, I know what I can pay for it. But I'm going to do that tomorrow, and I'm going to have Emily come with me and document it so you guys can see me at a seller appointment. And that lead was generated free through referral. Boom. Probably going to make.
I'm kind of jealous.
Come with me, bro. What are you doing?
What time is it at?
I believe it's going to be at noon.
I can make it if you really want me to go. I'd love to
let's go. I mean, I'll be able to buy it even cheaper if you come. So let's
Yeah, this dude from the Netherlands is going to be like, what in the world is going on here?
Flip it for the show.
Yeah, we'll do it. I bro, if you would have me, it's been the last time you and I were on a buy appointment was probably 3 years ago. Do you remember that appointment with the lady who was smoking?
Yeah, we were like in her house. She was just sitting there at the kitchen table smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
We bought her house subject to.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was in where was that? No, don't say it. Awatuki.
Yeah, it was Awatuki. It was right by the golf course.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a great one.
Love it.
It's been way too long. You and I hang out all the time, but we've been on buy appointments. We went to the one in Pennsylvania.
Atlanta. Yeah, we've been on some together. But I mean, a local one here that's like, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yes. Jamil, while we've got you on the stage, why don't you read this question out loud and answer this question?
Michael Diaz asked, if I bring a potential deal to Keegley Dispo, they will help me with a number that I should lock the deal up at? Yes, brother. That's it. Absolutely. They will help you in the markets they're in. So I believe Keegley Dispo's in 16 markets right now. So if it's not in one of those 16 markets, Michael, bring it to Straight Outta Compton on Wednesday, and I will give you the number live on the show. But if it is in one of those 16 markets, hit them up right now, and they will help you out. They're in the comments right now, ready to work.
Can I answer this question? I know I was asked of Brent, and Brent will have a really good answer, but this is a question that's come up so many times in my mentorship in the early phases, right? So people say, hey, I have PropStream, I have Mojo Dialer, I have Batch Leads. I just have never done a deal because I can't seem to understand how this all works together, because most entrepreneurs are not the integrator type of understanding how the technology all works. And it's like, just get me on the phone with a seller, right? So what I just recently did, because I'm always thinking like, how do I help people overcome fear? We did that inside of our mentorship recently. We came up with a way to get people to overcome fear. Then the next thing in my targets is, how do I get people to overcome this thing in my mentorship, right? And what I did is I hired 2 full-time employees. They start in 30 days. They're currently being trained, that their only job is to onboard students in my mentorship, and every single part of their system, my mentorship, my employees will actually physically set it up for them and show them exactly how we're using it. And then when they have questions, they come in every week. There's a Zoom dedicated to systems and integration that those employees will sit there and go, show us what's going on. We will fix it for you, so that you don't have to go and do the guesswork. You don't have to go watch the YouTube videos. You don't have to fail 100 times for 2 years to ultimately understand that. So it's a common thing, Keith. I wouldn't think that nobody else deals with this. A lot of people deal with this. And Brent, I wanted to answer it first because I really wanted to throw that out there for my students that are watching right now. And secondly, I'd like to ask you a question. When you have students come into TTP, and they're like, let's say they're low on a budget, is there a couple of tools that you say, look, you got to go, here's a couple of tools you do? Is it, you tell them, Deal Machine? Is it, get PropStream, get Mojo Dialer? What are the things that are like the bare necessities for getting a deal as a brand new TTP student?
Well, first you need to have accurate data, right? That's the biggest one that gets wiggly. When I give this advice pace, everybody goes, well, batch skip tracing can't be much better than whatever other skip tracing is just white labeling a company named IDI's information. It is way better. It's not even close. All right. It's not even close to anything else that's on the market. So if you want the best data, it's with batch skip tracing without a doubt. Okay. That's number one. Number one is I want to know what data you are getting and where you're getting it from. The other ones, I mean, when you pull, so in our program pace, I've got step-by-step modules, like literally, this is how you pull it, this is where you put it, and this is how you get it in there. So I don't want things to be left unclear. It's very, very, very specific. I've worked with every single one of those companies to make sure that it is seamless for my TTP students. All right. So that is an advantage that's in there. If they need help, I connect them with people like humans, like Americans that work in these companies that can help them out and solve their problems and get into their support. Because I'm not that. Somebody I hire is not that. I'm gonna give them to the people that actually built the systems. All right. And fortunately, I've got Batch down the hall. All right. But what I would say is off the bat, you need really good data. It's going to cost you 15 cents an address. I would say you need about to start 500 addresses of the ugliest properties that you can find in your marketplace. And what I would say is you can drive for dollars with a pen and a piece of paper and write it all out, the addresses, and do the research yourself. Or you could get BatchDriven, you could get Deal Machine, you could get any one of these that have all the information that you need, and you just click on it and add those properties. You get it over to Batch, it's in Excel, and boom, it's done, and you've got the numbers. Now you upload it to your dialer, and you're making calls. So I think that if there's any sticking point there, and I get it, it's not like, we're not like built to understand Excel and understand all the spreadsheets and put it in the right place. Am I doing this all right? But if you have an issue with it, you can run it. You can talk to their support, and don't let that stop you. The one thing that I didn't get there is it stopping you from making calls? Is it clogging up the process that much? Because I'm telling you, every single thing that he just put in there in a step is less than an hour worth of work to set up forever. So it's just making sure that you get it put in and doing it right. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can keep your budget to under a couple $100s a month when you're starting out. Or somebody put on there, how do I afford skip tracing if I have no money? Sell something. Sell your shoes. Sell your blood. Sell the marrow in your bones. I don't know. Sell something to get
the marrow in your bones.
$50, right? I don't know. I mean, sell other things that are part of your body. I don't know. Anyway, just find the opportunity to get those, because having those phone numbers is the gate. That's the gate, and you need to be able to open up that gate, and that's what it does.
You want to hear a good little side hustle for that? I'll tell you a good side hustle. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm at my golf club, and I've got a buddy named Jeff Dumas, and he doesn't watch his show. He told me not to tell anybody, but he doesn't watch his show. So I'm not worried about this. So I go, how's life, man? I haven't seen you in a couple of months. He goes, oh, it's great. I've got this cool little side gig. Like, I'm so excited about it. And I'm making like $10,000 a month on this. I'm like, okay. Like the business owner in me is like, please tell me, I need to know. So he tells me he went out and he bought, now pay attention, because I'm going to tell you how to do it a different way. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever said that. And I'm creating a couple of YouTube videos on me actually doing this. Okay. So he goes out and buys 2 dump trailers, and he's renting them on Facebook Marketplace. Okay. And he's making $110 to $120 a day per trailer. Okay. So you do the math, right? That's $7,000 a month roughly on 2 trailers. And he's got like a little small one that's like another $2,000 a month. So he's at like $9,000 a month. Okay. And I'm thinking, man, you know what? That's such an easy business to run, just renting these things out. It's all automated. They come to his driveway, they pick it up. There's a lockbox key to unlock the trailer, and they, borrow it for a couple of days. They Venmo him the money, whatever, right? It's a very simple process. So I'm thinking, how do I get my son to do this? How do I teach my son how to do this? So, his 13-year-old ass is learning how to work hard and be an entrepreneur, not somebody like me that I was, I'm grateful that I worked hard and painted with my dad and did things around the house. And I became very, very handy and good with my hands. Ultimately why I became a contractor, not a real estate investor and not an entrepreneur right out of the gate. But I go, I'm going to buy a trailer and I'm going to have my son do this. I go, no. This is way better. I'm going to drive around today and I'm going to find somebody that has a trailer in their yard. And I'm going to say, can my son help you rent that on a daily basis? And so far we've got 2 people that are letting my son rent their trailers. So he's arbitraging their trailers and renting them out. And he's making about $100 a day.
I'm gonna read it for him.
A 13-year-old kid is going to be making $3,000 a month on somebody else's shit. So I'm telling you, when people are like, I don't have a budget, guess what I don't have? Any sort of patience or sympathy for you whatsoever. There are about 100 different ways you can come up with money. That is why we got to get creative. If you have no money, You got to get creative. You got to and drive around your town. If you guys are driving for dollars, whether you're using Deal Machine or BatchDriven, doesn't matter. If you're driving around town, how many of these freaking broken ass houses have trailers in their front yard that nobody's freaking using? Right? Am I right?
Yep.
And think about construction right now. House building is at an all-time high. People are doing junk removal and all this kind of stuff, moving and doing all this kind of stuff. There should not be a single trailer on the road. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, I did not originally think this way. I went down to a trailer manufacturer. I've got my Amex. I'm about to swipe my card for a $10,000 trailer because I'm like, this is a great return. If my son brings in $3,300 this year, or $33,000 this year on this $10,000 trailer, that's a 300% return. That's crazy. And he gets to learn something. Trailer manufacturer goes, oh man, I thought we had one. We won't have one for 30 days. So I'm like, gosh, dang it, man. I'm driving home. I see a trailer in somebody's junky ass yard. And I'm like, now the universe did not want me to buy that brand new trailer. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's amazing.
It's amazing what happens when you talk to strangers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you went up and you're talking to these owners and they're like, how does that even go, Pace? You're like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, sure.
Oh, they're like, what if somebody damages my trailer? I go, well, let's take a look at your insurance. So I actually recorded my second conversation with the second person, and I'm putting it together in a YouTube video. Basically, the first person I didn't record, and I was like, damn, this is a great YouTube video, right? So we record the second one, and the second one is like, well, what happens to my trailer if somebody damages it? No, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, dude, what if we paid you like $600 a month? Right. And we made sure that I'll have my insurance guy make sure that the insurance on the trailer covers anybody and anything that could happen in the trailer, including theft. And I will pay for that insurance. And so we're paying for the insurance, but guess where I'm paying for the insurance? I'm paying for it out of the rentals that we've already booked out. So the first 2 trailers that we've got, they're already booked out for like 10 days. Dude, it's insane. Insane. 10 days times 2 trailers. It's $2,000 in 10 days.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, you're giving me good ideas. I'll tell you that. I mean, my boys better be ready.
No shit, man. And that's what I'm saying is like, I'm grateful that my parents taught me to work hard. Coming from 12 kids, my dad worked his guts out. And something my dad used to always say to me, we were driving to job sites at 6 o'clock in the morning, super early. To be on a job site at 6, you got to be waking up at like 4:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving to a job site. My dad would always say to me, Pace, you know what? You better buy land because they're not making any more of it. And that's a famous quote, right? Guess how much land my dad owns? None. Doesn't own any. He's still working in his 60s. And the reason being is because he worked hard his whole life. And my dad did not invest in real estate the way he should have. And I love my parents. I'm not knocking on my dad. I'm respectful. I love him. I appreciate him, his putting work ethic in me. But the reality is if my dad started buying real estate and told me that that was normal when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, imagine what taking that hard work and applying it to real estate would have done 10 years faster. Anyway.
Do we have anybody on here that we can celebrate? Do we have anybody that has got a deal locked up, that has closed a deal today, that post it in the comments? I want to ring this bell. It's my favorite thing. It's my
in the meantime, what are our viewers at, Pace?
Our viewers have been fluctuating today between 350 and 400 today. What
are we at right now?
We're at 327.
Okay. The 327 people that are on right now, I want you to do me a favor. Not all of you are subscribed to Brent, Pace's, and my YouTube channels, and we all have amazing shows for you, ways for you guys to get out there and get stuff done. So make sure that if you're subscribed to my channel and you're not subscribed to Brent's or Pace's, please go subscribe to their channels and vice versa. In addition to that, guys, snap a picture of you watching this and share it on your Instagram. It's really important that you share this. We want as many eyeballs on this show as possible because, look, there's only 330 people right now out of the millions and millions and millions that could be watching this that are actually taking time out of their days to get out there and do something to change their financial future. And we think spreading this is really important. It would be really good for us, for you guys to share it. So please subscribe to our YouTube channels, and also snap a shot of you watching the hotline tonight. Share it in your Instagram, tag Brent and Pace and myself, and we will reshare it.
Yeah, and you never know which one of your friends or old roommates or people that you worked with or family has interest in real estate, but that you just didn't know it. And then all of a sudden you're like building on this kind of enthusiasm that you all have, or that you have with somebody else that you had no idea. So take a shot and share it out there, and have people be like, what do you do? What is this? What is going on? What are you into? And then that starts the conversation, and follow that thread all the way to the point where maybe it's an accountability partner. Maybe it's somebody that did some classes on sub 2 and you're doing some things on wholesaling. Maybe it's somebody that is interested in getting referrals and understanding that, there's people out there that need help selling their deals and building up, a good opportunity to sell those deals for them. You just never know. I said it on stage in Tampa, and I'll say it, for the rest of the year. My theme in 2021 for everybody is get loud, get loud, get loud, get loud, get loud, get louder than you've been. Let people know what you're doing and share it. And this is just one of those little things. Take a picture, share it, because then you get people on. And if you're vibing with this and you have friends that are vibing with it as well, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. All of a sudden now you have conversations to have and deals to be done. That's how we all connected. We're all doing deals. We're all doing this thing. We get together and all of a sudden the magic happens. So don't sleep on, nobody in my center of influence, nobody in my crew is interested in real estate. You're wrong. You are statistically, you're just wrong. So be loud. There you go.
Love that.
This is interesting. This is coming up multiple times. Pace.
They don't know that you're 57 years old.
WTF? How old are you? Another one says, I love, what does he say? He says, Pace, did you have your kid at 15, bro? Guys, I hate to say this. I get this all the time. People think I'm like 31. I'm 38. I'm nearing 40. So, again, this is why one of the main reasons I do Wholesale Hotline is I'm trying to yell as loud as I possibly can so that the pace of past can hear me. Yep. And somehow, some way break the time algorithm so that I learn this in my freaking 20s rather than learn this in my 30s. I started learning this when I was 31 years old, guys.
Yep.
I freaking wish there's so many people in here that are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. I'm not envious of you. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
You will be worth. Oh, guess what house I just got under contract today, by the way.
What?
Jerry Norton's house.
No.
Which one?
He's moving into the mansion.
I'm moving into the Jerry Norton house, so I just bought it from him.
Did you really?
I really did.
Where are you gonna evict him?
He's moving to Puerto Rico.
Is he really?
Yep, he's moving to Puerto Rico. He just bought a house already in Puerto Rico. They're moving out on May, and so him and I have been going back and forth. Yeah, and guess how I bought it?
Creatively.
Yeah, all day long. Bought it creatively. We've been going back and forth for 2 months. And so he's moving to Puerto Rico for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And then he's going to be summering in his home in Montana. And so I'll be moving into his house on June 1st.
Wow. So, incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy fun stuff. So my point of bringing that up.
You have 4 people.
I know.
It's like 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's a little over 11,000 square feet.
Yeah.
But here's the main reason why I'm buying it is because it's a place that I can hold my masterminds, right? Yeah. Like right now, Jamil and I have been doing our mastermind in the sub 2 and Astro flipping office. And while it is a great place and it overlooks the water and it's an amazing building, I'm buying that so that I can start having my sub 2 mastermind quarterly at that place where everything's set up. There's a guest house. The guest house at that house is larger than my current house right now.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be setting that up just for the mastermind and the same way Jerry was doing it. I just looked at it. I said, this is super efficient. I can now have a full-fledged studio. So my studio right now is like 25 by 15. It's good size, but the new studio there's going to be 2 different sets, and one's 25 by 25. The other one is 25 by 20. So just being able to get louder. I want to get louder. I'm following in Brent Daniels' footsteps. I actually texted Jamil earlier today, and I was just like, dude, you were the missing link in my life. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. And Brent, you're the same thing, bro. You've been a missing link in my life, and I'm grateful to be able to be behind you guys as you forge forward. And I hope to continue to prove my worth of being your friend for years and years to come.
I think you're set. Jamil, you're buying something too, right?
What am I buying?
Are you allowed to discuss it?
I don't know.
It's a little bit more square footage.
Oh my gosh. I know about this.
I think I can talk about it. So,
well, do you mind if I go before you blow it out of the water?
You go ahead.
So Pace is buying a family home that's 11,000 square feet. Myself and the owners of the Batch Services are buying a commercial building, 21,000 square feet. That same thought, Pace. Same thought. Just to get a lot louder and bring a lot more people in. So it's going to be absolutely exciting.
So what are they going to do with the existing studio and all that stuff? What's the plan there?
I don't know. I mean, all this stuff will come and we'll really go bananas. But it's going to be exciting documenting a commercial building. It's a total gut job, real interesting. So a lot of investment into it, but I think it's just exciting. So first of all, Pace, I'm going to give you this. That's incredible. That is a beautiful house. I mean, that house is so stupid.
I basically, somebody was like, why are you buying that house? I go, they go, let me guess, so you can work harder. And I was like, That's exactly it. I need more space to work harder, be more efficient, to get the drive time out. So I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. And Jamil, you're muted.
I was saying it's a way for Pace to convince Laura to fill up all those rooms with babies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, bro. 100%.
Awesome. Hey, let's get a knock for
hey. There's some celebrating. Jamil, what are you buying?
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
So has my mic been a little bit weird today, guys?
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
Okay. So we're also buying a commercial building, a little larger than the one that the Batch and TTP family are buying. So we're buying an 80,000 square foot A-class commercial space here in Phoenix, Arizona. But we don't need 80,000 square feet. We actually need 40,000 square feet. We need 20,000 square feet for Keegley and the franchise training center. And we need 20,000 square feet for the Astro Flipping and Sub 2 offices where all the people work at New Reach. And so oddly enough, what's vacant in that building is exactly 40,000 square feet. Now, while we were in Tampa, what I learned was we actually can do a deal structure where we'll get paid $3 million to buy the building.
Yep.
You guys hear that?
Yep.
Get paid $3 million. So we're going to buy a building for $7.8 million. And on the day of close, we'll actually not even have to come up with the $7.8 million. We'll be able to walk with new office space and $3 million in our jeans. Crazy.
Just
where'd you learn that?
At the mastermind.
That's right, baby.
At the mastermind.
Yep.
That's crazy. It's crazy to me that you spend the money on the mastermind, right? Whatever it was, I think collectively, with travel here, let's talk about this. Let's get real with travel, hotel. Brent brought his whole team out. Like, that's expensive. When Brent comes out, there's an entourage.
First class too, baby.
First class. Everybody's being taken care of. I mean, and then our membership fees to be in that mastermind. I mean, we're talking a total of $60,000-$70,000 for that, for all of us to go there collectively. By the way, Jamil paid for my fee into the mastermind. Thank you so much. So much. He paid for mine.
Thank you, bro. That was just a gift from my heart to you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. So that's a pretty big, sizable check to be part of that mastermind and all these expenses and hotel and time away from your family. But one relationship that Jamil got, one freaking relationship is going to make him real $3 million. That's crazy. And I was sitting there watching you talk to this guy in the mastermind, and I'm like, Jamil's extracting value from this guy right now. This is amazing, amazing, amazing. And then what was great about it is you came up with you devised a way to bring millions of dollars back in value to him. Mm-hmm. And he's all excited. And that's actually why we're going out to Baltimore at the end of April.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm being asked, how's that deal structure work? So for those of you that are wanting to know, commercial real estate value is based off of the rents in the building. So what we're actually doing is, because 40,000 square feet of the building are already in 10-year leases, so they're in long-term market leases with escalation clauses after the 10 years. What we're doing is we're actually, prior to close of escrow, so prior to closing the property, we are going to contract it as one entity. And then we're contracted at our purchase price, but we're then going to sign 2 new leases for 10 years at market rent for the holding company that Keegley operates in, as well as the company that New Reach operates in. And that will add an entire $4 million in value. Now, we're not going to get that $4 million out. We can only get 3 of the $4 million out. So $1 million of that will have to stay in the property as equity. But when we close, our actual loan will be for what the property will be now worth with those 2 new leases. And with those 2 new leases in place, we'll actually extract $3 million out of the deal. Incredible.
Jamil, do you think that perhaps we might have the same strategy?
Yes. Yes.
Same exact thing, brother.
It's so incredible. I'm just shocked at the things that you can do with real estate. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
You get paid to buy these properties.
You get paid to buy these properties, and not just a little bit of money, millions and millions.
You want to hear the craziest thing, guys? And this really hits us right in here. And so I had a conversation today with a mutual friend, and she said she has a really good family member or family friend that works for the city of Phoenix. City of Phoenix, based on whatever stats that they're doing, based on whatever, they are expecting to double in size in the next 10 years. What do you think that does to commercial real estate? What do you think that does to residential real estate? What do you think that does to land? What do you think that does to real estate in general in this area? I'm telling you, I mean, listen, real estate's like, that's the answer. How do I be rich? How do I be wealthy? How do I do these things? Real estate. How do you get into it? Find ugly houses and talk to the homeowners. That's it. Start there. And then start building that up and building it up, building it up. And then you're looking at these opportunities that, like, 3, 5, 10 years before, you're like, that'll never happen. And then all of a sudden, everything starts going. And it's incredible. So, we want that for everybody on here. You're not in here if you don't have that fire in your belly. You're not going to be watching this show if you don't have that fire in your belly. Just stoke it. This is real life. We're showing it. Are we going to do YouTube videos on these, you think, guys?
Of course.
We're going to do YouTube videos on all these purchases and getting into these and deal breakdowns.
And the cool thing is, if you're a TTP alumni, you can go over there every freaking Friday.
Every Friday. Yeah. Friday.
That's the new spot, man. You guys if you're a TTP student, you can swoop in, you can see how the construction's going. You could probably learn a whole bunch of stuff, talk to Jesse, Annie, Evo, see what's going on over there. And then, dude, like, your TTP students can come by anytime Fridays. Yep. That's going to be cool. Yep.
But it starts with taking action. It starts with breaking out of that shell of inactivity, of the I don't know what to do. You know what to do. We talk about it every week. And if you're just watching this for the first time, find an ugly house, talk to the property owner, see if they would consider an offer on that property. That's how you start. and then squad up with people that are doing business in your neighborhood, in your market, in your community, on this thread here, and people will help you. And then boom, you're off and running. That should be a book. That should be a book. It'll be a 3-sentence book. How to succeed in real estate. Seriously, that's really what it is. So it's incredible.
Can I answer this one real quick, for Santiago? What mastermind are you guys in? I'm a part of 3 masterminds. I think Jamil's part of at least 2, maybe 3. TTP's part of 2, maybe 3 as well. Maybe 4 for Brent. I'm not sure. And then we all run our own collective masterminds. Okay, so we all turn around I do mine quarterly for my sub 2 students. You're not invited to my mastermind unless you are an existing sub 2 student. Jamil just did his mastermind where Brent spoke at, freaking lit up the room. That was amazing. And then TTP, I know, has done masterminds. In fact, we just saw, what's her name? Rita Dallas. Mm-hmm. Last time I saw Rita Dallas was at a mastermind you and Toback were doing. Are you going to be freaking doing like the coolest TTP mastermind of all time in your new building?
You know it. You know it. Absolutely. I mean, very, very, very excited about it.
Dude, we should have a joint wholesale freaking hotline mastermind, man.
We're going to do it. We're going to first start at your house pace, and then we're going to go to mine, and we'll just keep going to bigger buildings. Then we'll go to mine, and then we'll go to Jamil's, airport terminal. And
seriously, dude, my gosh. So the mastermind that we're part of, both of them all 3 that I'm in are all invite only. Okay. Now masterminds are amazing. But what's even better is making sure that what I love about masterminds is that the guys and gals that run these masterminds filter out people to make sure that you're in the highest level room possible. And so, masterminds are critical. They're absolutely critical. I think for the rest of my life, I'll always be a part of 2 minimum, if not 3, maybe 4, depending on what I have going on. Last year I was in 4. I broke it down this year to 3. Some of the masterminds I get into are only 3 months long or 6 months long. Some of them are a weekend long, right? Kind of depends on what you're looking for, but they're just like, in my opinion, they're the new college course or the new college degree that you got. You know what? I need to get a degree in that. I need to get a degree in that. And you pick and choose. This mastermind, both of them are invite only. So they're not marketed. They're not branded. They're just based on people doing real estate transactions. So let's go back to what Brent was talking about earlier. Get loud, get loud, get loud. Make sure that people see you doing business and make sure that people see you providing a lot of value. You will get invited to masterminds in the future, and you will get these types of value as well if you bring value to people.
Well, and I thought it was just beautiful. This is just a peek inside of Jamil's mind, and I think it was just absolutely perfect. We were sitting at lunch, and we were talking about how successful Dolph DeRoos is, right? And the big deals and the $1 million deals and all these things. And Jamil said, I'm excited to be in the mastermind where Dolph feels like the small guy here. You know what I mean? That's forward thinking. That's big thinking. That's like, I'm going to just stay here. No. Keep pushing. And I think that's just beautiful. So thank you for that, Jamil.
Ongo says, I can't wait to get to Brent's mastermind. Same here. Jamil and I flew out to San Diego just to go to it. It was a 2-day deal or a 3-day deal? I forget.
2-day deal.
3 days.
Yep.
It was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. I like the format of the round table where people are just walking around and like you focused on having the tables, deep diving on a different topic. It was amazing. I loved it. And I can't wait for
circuit training, circuit training at the gym, you're always moving, you're always getting good stuff. So
yes.
Just real quickly, I want to answer a question for Aronov Shmuel. He asked, if I'm sorry if I butchered the name, Aronov, I apologize. I do my best. But his question was, do I send the purchase contract to my assignee when I'm assigning a property? You should. Oftentimes they're going to ask you for the original purchase contract because they need to see what terms they're being assigned. So if you're uncomfortable sending, letting them know what your price is and all that, you can redact pieces of information from your original purchase contract. But it is standard, Aronov, that happens.
Michael Diaz says, are there any NYC meetups later on this year? We absolutely will be making ourselves, making our way to New York City, New Jersey, Philly this year. We tried to do it last year, but it got canceled because of COVID. But now that that's, dissipating to some degree, we will make that trip. We will head out to New York. Jamil and I actually have a couple of people we need to visit that we're going to be working for a couple of years. We're going to probably go out there and visit them. But our schedule for visits this year is going to be Los Angeles next. We're going to be in Key West this week. So if anybody's going to Key West, I've seen a lot of Astro students are going out to this event, Jamil. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
So there's a Key West event this week. Then we're going to be in Los Angeles. Jamil and myself are going to be filming a couple of ads. One of them, we rented the DeLorean from Back to the Future. We're going to be filming some Back to the Future ads. That's going to be fun. And guess who else is in one of the commercials with us? Dolph, the guy that we were just talking about. He's going to film with us. Then after LA, we're going to be going out to, I have to go out to Atlanta. So I'll probably do an Atlanta meetup. I've got to go set up I've got 2 Airbnbs in Atlanta I have to set up. And I just love Atlanta so much that I'm going to probably make a trip out there instead of just having Noah, who manages my stuff for me, do it himself. And then Jamil and I are going to be going to Baltimore in end of April.
April 28th, we'll be in the DMV area. And that should be a good time. We're going to be staying at a castle. Pace and I are going to be putting together the Castle Mastermind.
Yeah, that's going to be sick. The Castle Mastermind. Also, Kamo High, one of my favorite people of all time. Kamo High, by the way, I saw his G-Shock. I'm not a watch guy by any means. It's just not something that gets me going. I like watching, Jamil has some beautiful watches and I love looking at them, but I just don't think I look good with a watch. Kamo High has a what do they call it? G-Shock watch with rainbow colors. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's I would love that over a Patek Philippe. I want that watch. And it's I feel bad. I don't want to copy him. So Kamo High, do I have your permission to copy you on a G-Shock watch?
G-Shocks are dope, bro. That's Eminem's only watch.
So, Kamo High, we really, Brent, would you make a trip out with your wife and your kids out to Hawaii if we did a cool meetup in Hawaii sometime this year?
Just depends on when, but yeah, I'm open to it.
I want to get out to Hawaii.
The crew.
Yeah, of course. Everybody on your team, the TTP team.
That's right.
All right, Brent, you want to take us home?
That's it, guys. What a fantastic show. Pace, Jamil, you guys are the absolute best. I am just so privileged to be on here with you guys. Enjoy your traveling this week. Go change lives. Everybody else out there, listen. Be loud. You've got this. You can do this. You can be the person putting together magnificent, fantastic, wonderful opportunities for yourself and your family. But it starts with taking action. It starts with that first step of actually talking to a property owner that needs your help, talking to somebody that's in a distressed situation that you can help them out. Be brave, have courage. You got this, and we love you. We'll see you next Monday on Wholesale Hotline number 60 with Jacob Blink. See you
later, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.